Mic check, mic check. Check. It's kind of loud. Mic, mic. All right. All right, very well. Very well. Very, very well. Okay. I need to implement normalize before we can export to a file. I mean, I don't need to normalize before I find the angle, right? It's kind of pointless, no? What's going on, man? What's up, Victor? How you doing? Service. Yep. All right. Eight. Call it normalize. Yeah, betting is some from Russia. I leave MATLAB in university. Yeah, the only thing I want to do with MATLAB is essentially I barely ever use MATLAB. I think you were already in the stream once, right, Victor? I remember we having a conversation about um that one book I was reading, if I if I'm correct. But yeah, in MATLAB, I just want to after I'm done with this, I want to export. Essentially, I'm going to add um I'm going to write the vectors out to a file. And then after I write the vectors out to a file, I want to plot it in MATLAB. So MATLAB is going to read from the file and then create a plot. That's the only thing I really need MATLAB. before. Yeah. Yeah. Not quickly, slower. Okay. So I said I'm going to need MATLAB to um after I'm done writing this, I'm going to export the vectors in this out to a file. And from that file, I want MATLAB to read from that file and then plot the points, the vectors in that file, essentially. That's the only thing I need MATLAB for. But I remember you were in the stream earlier before, right? I think you've been here before. Case 8. There's no point in even making a case 8. It's not what I want. Create 2 file streams. I've already done this before. Hold on. Ah, okay. I thought you have been here before. That's why. But yeah, I'm gonna need MATLAB help later. So maybe in like an hour to help me plot vectors from a file after I write to the file in C++. Do I stream? I forgot the syntax for creating a file. Or stream. Empty file. I'll just call it vectors.txt. Did I not include f string? Or rather, it's in the standard library, isn't it? Yeah, std standard namespace. OF string, and then after I create the file, don't forget to close it at the end. Vector file, not close. Okay. All right. So after we're done, well, I don't even know how this is gonna work. So I just create a case 8 that says plot, right? Let's just do that. Sort of case 8. Just call it plot, right? So we're going to you're learning linear geometry. I've never heard of linear geometry. Is that a thing? What is that? Linear geometry. You mean linear algebra? I've never heard of linear geometry. I didn't even know that was a thing. I've only heard of linear algebra. Well, I guess you do use cosines and sines in linear algebra, so technically it could be the same thing now. It could be the same thing. I didn't know that was... What's linear geometry about? Is it the same as linear algebra? Oh, okay. I'm like, what? I've never heard of linear. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Analytical geometry and linear algebra. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to get two vectors. What's the name of my function again? Read two vectors. Read two vectors. Let's store them in. So it's a pair. std tie. std tie. All right. I forgot the syntax. Tie first vector, second vector. First vector, second vector. To read two vectors. Now I have two vectors. This is case 8 plot on MATLAB. Yeah, you have to learn C++ and C#. I don't use C#. C++, yeah, it's good. Honestly, yeah. The first language I ever learned was Java. And so once you learn one of them, everything is kind of the same. You just have to, I guess, figure out the new syntax. The hard part is actually coming up with stuff to make and code and create. So usually yeah, I just try to tie it to stuff I'm learning. Like I was taking a linear algebra course right now, so I'm just making a vector calculator. So yeah. Java is a programming language. This is C++. This isn't Java. But the first one I learned about like 6 years ago was Java. No, this is C++. Yeah. And read two vectors, and I want to write those two vectors to a file. The file I declared up here. Well, then I guess I don't even need it up here since I'm not. I can just declare it in the switch statement. After we read two vectors, I don't want to append, if I recall. There's a, what's the keyword to erase the whole file? There you go. Begin. And that's the input file that takes it to the, there you go, out. Alright. I'll call it out. I'll call it out. Alright, so I'm trying to think of the logic here. I have two vectors and I want to write those two vectors essentially to a file. So I'm simply just, these vectors are objects, right? A vector input. And vector input is an object of vector 2D and 3D. Yeah, so vector 2D and 3D. So if it's a 2D, if it's a 2D vector, then I just want to write the coordinates. So let me see how this guy actually formatted his output in his file. So it's just separated by commas. Okay. So we can do if first they have to have the same dimensions. So if they have the same dimensions, the first vector and second vector, and we can do this. If they don't have the same dimension, the resultant, the error flag, not first, has to go to true because there's an error. And then resultant, the error flag, second, essentially this. What is FAA/FAU? What do you mean? Where did you see that? Is that in my code or what is FAA? Oh, FAA. That's the, you mean like the Federal Aviation Administration? That's like the uh they regulate aviation stuff essentially. So like pilot licenses, rules when you're flying airplanes, stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about? Or is there a different FAA? FAA has to do with like planes and rocket launches and airspace essentially. Anything that flies has to have the FAA kind of oversees it in the US at least. If that's what you mean. And if there's not an error, then your messages are kind of, I don't know, it's like giving me an error. I can't really tell what you're typing. Else, we want to, if the first vector is 3D, if first vector that is 3D, then we want to write that vector to the first vector. So rather vector file, output to the vector file, the is what far away? The FAA? What do you mean far away? The FAA is in the US. United States. Vector file. what's I'm confused. What's going on, man? General. I feel like we're not on the same page. I don't know. All right, vector file. I want to write, so I want to write the 3 vectors. So first vector dot. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure either. He's from Russia though, so he's trying to, I guess, translate it. And you know, sometimes translators don't do a great job of translating 2 different languages. One, comma, first vector. Let's see. You heard me say FOU? I heard you say FOU. Oh, I don't remember saying FOU. I'm trying to think what context I would have said FOU. I don't even know what that means. I'm not sure. Yeah. FOU. FOU. No. Alright, that should be good to write a vector to a file. And then we can essentially do the same thing if it's not 3D. We do that. But it's just a 2-dimensional vector, so we can remove the 3rd dimension. And that should write to the file and then close it. And then forget our break statement. Transcription, yeah. We don't need a result because we're not printing anything to the screen here. All right. So I guess then if we add a menu option for 8, change the lower menu bound to 9, and let's run this and see what happens. All right, make. Right, so if we call plot 2 vectors, and then we enter the vector 2, 3, and then a vector 6, 8. I didn't want to plot it actually. Oh, it's just giving me an error because there's no output. So it should have wrote, yeah, it only wrote 2, 3. Okay. So that's not right. Let's try that again. Right, 9, 11, and 2, 8. It only wrote 9, 11. So it's only writing the first vector. Here. Oh, because I only implemented the first vector. What the heck? Okay. All right. So after we do that, we need to do it again for the second vector. All right. So the second vector, and then write the second vector. Second vector, second vector, second vector, second vector. Write the second vector too. How come I'm doing this? I just started taking a linear algebra course. So honestly, I was just, because I barely ever use C++. Like, so I was just trying to essentially tie it to C++ so I can actually just keep programming and not forget everything that has to do with C++. So it's just essentially learning linear algebra and doing this. I usually try to do that every time I'm learning something new. So like a linear algebra, calculus, I try to make a calculus calculator or something simple just to keep programming. Because I'm not even a computer science student. I'm an engineering student at UTA, hopeful engineering student next semester. So yeah. I'm doing aerospace engineer. Aerospace. Yeah. Electrical. I've heard good things about electrical. I heard they need a lot more and they make good money. But I'm doing aerospace. Yeah. So now it should work. 1, 2, and then 2, 3. And plotted it on the same line. Okay. Now we need to change the lines somehow. How do I forgot. Insert a new line. Just put end line, I believe, right? So over here we can do end line. STD end line. You wish you would have done, yeah. Are you a student or were you a student? What did you do? I feel like they can do anything. Yeah, I've heard really good things about electrical engineering. So, but I mean, aerospace and mechanical are sort of the same thing. Oh, you did computer engineering? Yeah, okay. I was a computer science student for 2 years, and then I stopped at Sam Houston. It was fun. I liked computer science, but I didn't think it was what I wanted to do. Did computer engineering? Yeah. Uh, I don't know actually. I don't have a reason. Like, I figured I would like aerospace or like engineering, anything engineering a lot more. Computer science people, they make a lot more money, like software engineers and cybersecurity guys. And most of them work from home and you can like work two different jobs. Yeah. I only did it for 2 years, yeah. Yeah. Then I transferred to UTA and I'll be doing engineering down here. So I don't have a reason why I stopped. I'm not gonna say I didn't like it. It was fun, like making different uh, stuff. I remember we had used like I had to go learn like essentially like I never used the like Linux. Essentially the whole G++, GNU stuff. That shit was overwhelming. So yeah, I had to download a virtual machine and run Ubuntu from it just to be able to program in Linux, I guess. Yeah, that was fun. It's either or, really. Honestly, I still try to study like computer science stuff, essentially, and who knows what the future holds, I guess. You did computer, did you graduate? Did you already, because you wrote past tense. Yeah, you graduated with a computer engineering degree, I'm guessing. Oh, you just graduated? Yeah. Give me some advice, man. Like a month ago. Yeah. I need some engineering advice. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of studying, a lot of math. I know it's a lot of math. Oh, computer engineering, I don't know, but yeah. If second vector is 3D, that should print it on a new line. Yeah, just do the work on time. That's where you messed up. Yeah. The hardest part for me going to school and working at the same time. Just hopefully that's I probably just work 2 days, but I'm in a lot better position than I was when I was doing computer science. I had to work, because I had to pay my rent and stuff like that. But now I kind of don't have to, so that's good. Makes it so much harder if you don't do the work here. Where'd you go? What school? There you go. Now it's on two different lines. All right. And if we enter a three-dimensional vector from 3 to 12 and 2, 1, 31, for example, it's a three-dimensional vector. All right, cool. Oh yeah, Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Institute. I feel like y'all's education. Oh, this is speaking for like, because I had a bunch of like Indian dudes in my comment the other day when I was streaming, and I mean, they're just like, I looked at one of their test papers and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what is on this paper. So I guess here down in the US, they take it a little easier on us. I don't know how it is for Europe, but I know in Asia, those guys are learning, stuff we're learning in college down in middle school or high school. So I don't know how much harder it is down there, but yeah, it's pretty similar for Europe and the US. Yeah, I'd say. It's 3 years for bachelor's. Okay. Well, there's a lot of honestly, like I'm gonna be honest about the U.S. There's a lot of stuff, unnecessary stuff they have us take. It should probably be 3 years. Like you come to college, and if you don't take AP or honors classes in high school, then you'd have to come over here and start taking U.S. history. For example, I'm in Texas, so I have to take Texas history, 2 levels of that, 2 courses of each of them. Then you have to take like stuff like music and like music theory and uh, weather and climate and stuff that isn't relevant for your degree. So I'm like, if they'd cut down a bunch of that, then honestly, it'd be like 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah, it's bad. Like I had to take a weather and climate class. Uh, I think it was like geography and then U.S. history, Texas history. I had to take English level 1 and 2 again for some reason. I'm like, bro, okay. And I had to pay for all of them, which is the worst part. Classes aren't free. It's what you need them to graduate. So yeah. So it could be shorter if they do away with the redundant classes. I can't honestly. I took those classes 2 years ago. I can't tell you I remember a single thing from them. Like I remember all the stuff about history that's already burned into my brain from high school. I'm not gonna remember anymore. You know. If that's writing to it, actually, we need to normalize it before we. Uh, what does normalizing do again? Oh, magnitude returns a vector. All right, so else we'll do that here. We say first vector dot vector 2D dot normalize. Right, and I should call this function and then return the normalized version of it, which is just another vector. Yeah, okay. So okay. Do I want to output the normalized version or well, let me just see what it does. So what does this even do? Oh God, I don't even know what it looks like. Geography, I know where Moscow and where my city. Where are you from, Victor? What city? Oh well, Moscow's a city, right? Yeah, it's the capital of Russia. If I'm not stupid, maybe I should have paid attention in geography class in college. Moscow is the capital of Russia. That's the place with the fancy red buildings and stuff. I forget what it's called. That square. Yeah, it's the capital of Russia. I forget what that square is called though. What's that square called with the nice looking buildings and the red? They look like gingerbread houses. That's pretty cool. Ergoviesk. Oh, it's called the Red Square. Yeah, the Red Square. That's what I was thinking of. You're from I don't know how to pronounce that. Igor Igorives. Okay. Igor Rivesk. Igor Rivesk. Sure. Yeah. What's the problem here? Like, I'm just trying to see what the difference is between a normalized vector and a. If I say plot two vectors and I enter 1, 2. Plot two vectors, I enter 1.5 and 2, and then 2 and 2. Well, what's 1.5 normalized? It didn't even print it out. Oh, I know why. I gotta call Getch here to freeze my screen. I meant. What do you mean? I more 20 years of learning utter? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm more 20 years of learning utter. The clues you're throwing out don't really help. Maybe General can translate for me. All right. Vector 5. Where was I? There. Sure. Plot two vectors 1.5 and 2, and then 2 and 2. So the normalized version of this would be 0.6. Okay, and then 1 being the max and -1 being the minimum. Right? No. The pronunciation of Russian cities are quite difficult. Oh, yeah. You might be better off typing in Russian in the chat and not just copy and paste it in in Google Translate or something. Vector file. Second vector. All right, what is norm? I don't even know. I had this conversation today. Normalizing a vector. That's the normalized dot product. Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, but okay, I guess it's when you normalize the dot product that the range becomes -1 to 1. Yeah, you're correct. It's a okay. Shifts the vector same direction, but the length is 1. I'm trying to think of why that would be, I guess, useful. Is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, should I even do it before I plot it? I guess. Sure, why not? We'll see. Trial and error. Trial and error. So here, let's write the normalized vectors to the file instead of just the regular vector. The first vector that x, I don't know, first vector dot 3D dot normalize. No, here, normalize both of them here. So first vector is equal to, it becomes more important later in linear algebra. Yeah, because I think I'm on like chapter 2 of the Khan Academy course, like chapter something. So I haven't, like, we've covered basic like dot cross product and stuff like that, but I don't even think we've talked about normalization of vectors. I was just talking to ChatGPT earlier and it came up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna implement it. Why not? First vector that, if it's 3D, not if it's 2D. If it's 3D, then first vector dot, first vector is equal to first vector dot vector 3D dot normalize. And I should return another vector. No? First vector dot vector 3D. What? First vector dot vector 3D is equal to first vector dot vector 3D dot normalize. No. It's definitely one of the harder ones to learn, the syntax. It's not like every regular, like Python is very easy to read because it reads like English, but C++ is a little different. It was kind of like Java though, which is weird because that was the first one I learned, Java. So it's very similar to Java syntax. Uh, First vector, vector 3D. Do I even? So I've read two vectors. Now I want to normalize those two vectors. So if I just call dot vector 3D dot normalize. Now it's normalized, right? It returns a 3D vector. But because it returns it, it doesn't change it. Here, let's try this. So if we enter. I never hated programming, man. It's fun. It's honestly, it's probably the most fun I've had. Object-oriented programming. Yeah, I like programming in general. I do. I don't think I could ever hate it, but uh, I don't know what I got tired of. I just got tired of something with CS, honestly, and I just like, okay, I don't know what it was. I woke up one morning, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should go be an engineering student instead. Maybe I should have done computer engineering. So that way it kind of balances both, I guess. First vector, vector 3D normalize. If I've normalized it, then 1, 2, 3, for example. So if I enter 1.5 into 1.32, and then what did I do? 1.2. What? Oh shit. 1.2, 1.5, and then 3.5. And I do 2, 2, and 2. Well, what's the normalized version of that? It didn't normalize it. That didn't work. So I need to set it equal to first vector is equal to yeah, okay, so I'm not reading the correct value for that. I'm reading the wrong value. So instead of reading the C was the actually I worked in C in my what's it called? I forget what the class is called. I had to work in C, so I've used C a good amount. And it's only it's very similar to C++. Like the transfer, C was a language I used before C++. Let me see if I can find my folder. Where's my flash drive? From my class. Did it just freeze my screen? Of course it did. All right. That shit always happens. And it didn't even work. I think I can pull it up. Hold on. In my special topics and programming class, C was what we used. I was trying to pull up some of my old projects, but it's on my flash drive, and if I plug it in, it freezes my computer for some reason. So it's very similar to C though. Yeah, it's another one I like, honestly. Don't like I haven't even used like Python. I see everyone use Python. I've never used Python. I don't know the syntax in Python. I've heard it's good though. But yeah, it's very similar to this. It's honestly the same thing, it's without the I guess the object-oriented programming aspect on C++ is a lot better, and cleaner, and easier because C++ is object-oriented. Kind of like Java. Yeah. I think C++ is cleaner. I prefer C++. Yeah. Cleaner, like in the sense of like syntax wise, no. C is cleaner syntax wise. I don't know which one is yeah. Yeah. C is it's up there for sure. Yeah. It's one of the better ones. I prefer C++. I don't know. I definitely yeah. Sure. C++ can do a lot more than C though. That's the thing. C++ I feel like can do a lot more than C. especially when it comes to like just like vectors and linear algebra and stuff like that. Like there's a reason game developers use a lot more C++ as compared to C. C is old. Eh, it's old. C++ is more modern. I guess modern is like 1990 something, but still a lot more modern. Second vector 3D. All right, so instead of writing, yeah, so we need to actually call dot vector 3D here and then read the x value from the vector itself. That's the problem. That's why it's not working. I believe now we should get the normalized version. So instead of 1.2, 1.5, and 3.5, it should be normalized when we enter 1.2, 1.5, and 3.5. 1.2, 1.5, and 3.5. And just do 2, 2, 2. Yep, now it's normalized. Okay. Very well. All right. I think when working with larger projects, C++ and Java is been, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I wish I had my first programs on. Let me plug it in real quick. Hold on. Unplug my webcam real quick. All right. I guess this is some of it. Uh, this right here. This was my CAD. I touched on CAD. I'll probably use it a lot more as my semester goes, or like my as I progress in my degree. But I used it a little. CAM software. Yeah, this is one of them right here. Actually, this is the little free one I use. Solid Edge. It's like SolidWorks, but cheaper and free. All right, this is my COS. Has my code even in here? Yeah. Let's see if I can open it. Mm-hmm. Are you asking? I guess he's asking. What? Hold on. I missed. C offers less overhead. That's a lot. That's true. Oh, it says. I guess he's asking if you use CAD, CAM, maybe. That's not really programming. It's just 3D modeling. Uh, I don't know. This none of these codes probably even work because honestly, they were all like I made them all. I coded them all on Linux software. So, oh yeah, that's the thing about C. You also had to like it's just bad practice everywhere. This was like 3 years ago. um, I did pretty good on these assignments. So I remember if my lowest was like 85 maybe. I think. Like declaring arrays was the worst. Like writing strings was the worst because there's no actual string. You had to create an array of characters, stuff like that. And this just what does this even do? This is lab one, lab four. Oh, pipes and named pipes and yeah, I don't remember any of this honestly. Yeah, this was a good time. This is C. This is C. Well, I guess G. What's G code? Oh, G. If we're thinking about the same thing, I guess it's always C, but G plus plus. That's the compiler. So maybe he calls it G. I don't know. If you're on Linux, maybe it's called G in Russia. No. Yeah, none of these will like none of this is even gonna compile. Mm. It's a mess, honestly. I don't I don't even know what's going on. Like you can't tell me that this looks a lot better than C. Like everything was so complicated. It looks a lot better than C++. Everything on C was so complicated to do. And that's the thing. That's why I didn't really like it. I still don't know what G is. G code. What's G code? G code is a programming language used for CNC, computer numerical control. I've never heard of this in my life. No, this isn't G, but G is a thing. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of this. Now that this is normalized, uh, second vector, that vector 3D. Oh shit, I just messed it up. Is equal to second vector dot vector 3D dot normalize. I'll copy this and do it again for what? I want that in here. That here. I agree. There's more headache with C. That's part of its charm. Yeah. Yeah. It's. I don't know which one is actually. I'm guessing C is a lot better on memory too than C++, or maybe they're the same. For optimization, I'm guessing C is probably a little better. Than C++. Because C is like as bare bones as you're gonna get to like assembly. Super low level. Yeah. Then as Torvald says, C is great because you can see how it will be compiled. Yeah, that is true. Gives you a lot of control over. Uh, yeah, I do aerospace engineer. He said astrophysics. It gives you a lot of control over your hardware, stuff like that with C. So yeah. Yeah, I'm doing aerospace guy. So we normalize all the vectors, and then this needs to be 2D. 2D. Sector vector. 2D, 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 2D. All right, normalize all of them. Cool. This needs to be vector 3, 30, 30. All right. Got two vectors, 1, 2. Okay. I put a space. Which year? Oh, I'm going into my sophomore year. Well, sophomore and a half, really, because I transferred, so I got to restart. I transferred from, I switched from a computer science major to aerospace engineer. And C coding is fun. I hate Python because how simple it is. It's weird to say that, but that is the case. Yeah, I don't ever use Python either. I don't know. I tried when I was taking CS50. This was like 2 years ago. CS50. It was fun. It's oversimplified. Sometimes more control is better. A lot of times more control is better. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm back down to a sophomore, I guess, because I transferred, I switched majors and changed schools. So I'm going to UTA this semester. So we got probably 2.5 more years of doing this again. Um, I am 3D normalize. It should work. Right, 1, 2 example. So 1.5 and 3 is compared to shit. Well, see, that's the thing. In the CS classes, they had no. I guess they transferred. Like all my credits transferred, but as per working towards my degree, uh, I think like two, maybe one of my CS classes transferred. So yeah. Well, a lot of the other like prerequisites and stuff. So like on the bright side, I don't have to do any prerequisites. Like aerospace engineering is more physics, like more physics and math based, not necessarily like CS. So like obviously my calculus one, calculus two, uh, linear algebra, stuff like that, those transferred over. But as for core CS classes, no, none of them. I think it was only one of them actually transferred. Yeah. 5 and 3 and 2 and 2. 0.5 and 3 and then 2 and 2. All right. Trying to theoretical physics, math and physics. Yeah. What do you major? What do you major in? Or what have you majored in, or what are you majoring if you're in school right now? So that works. That's writing to the file. Normalized, I believe. Cool. So now I just got to figure out how to plot these in MATLAB, I guess. I've opened MATLAB once, ever. Let's see this guy.
This video is how we can type that text file.
Same directory. Shit. Don't open another one. Why is nothing closing? What's going on? Not in college yet, and last year high school, but I learned quantum theory and physics. At 12, but already got an offer from University of New South Wales for a non-conditional exam into the quantum engineering program for 15%. I reckon I can get about 50. Quantum theory? Yeah, last year high school in New York is by top 20. Yeah. Theory, I see. Percent base scholarship. That's crazy, man. Anything when I hear the word quantum, I just think hard. So I just don't even. Yeah. When I hear quantum, I just think, okay, I'm good. But that's honestly that's impressive. That's yeah. That is impressive, I will tell you. You're gonna get 3 papers published. In high school, I don't know what I was doing in high school, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not thinking about my future. I'll tell you that. One in deep concept theory, one in fluid dynamics. Fluid dynamics, I'm gonna have to do that. One in optics. Optics, yeah. Yes. Yeah, fluid dynamics, I'm definitely gonna have to do that. Yeah. I've tried to get a head start, like studying physics concepts and stuff like that. Thermodynamics, fluid dynamics. So hopefully we have a great semester. You seem very knowledgeable for someone who's still in high school, I'll tell you that. Yes, that's a good thing. Uh, um, I don't even know how to switch directories. That's how often I use this shit. How do you change your working directory? uh, I do not use MATLAB. I guess we want to be here. Open. What? New script. No. My paper is a little bit higher than undergrad level. Fluid dynamics, I think. It's more graduate level, but hey, it might even be wrong. Wrong for peer review. Props to you. That because this is isn't that what like graduate school people do? Or is that like a Europe thing? Because down here, no one is writing papers coming out of high school, or even in college, in a bachelor's degree. Take like looking for a bachelor's degree down here, no one is writing like you know research papers and stuff like that. That's more of a graduate thing in the U.S., I guess. When you're going for a master's, I guess that's how you know stand out from everyone around. Is that more common like in Europe? Coming out of high school, people writing papers. Because coming out of high school down here, like we were trying to just figure out what college you're gonna go to and do your 4 years, essentially. Yeah, not from Europe, trust me. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I was about to say it's not common. I mean, that's how you. I don't even know how to open it. Like that's how often I use this. Jesus. Okay. I want to open a different directory. How do I accomplish that? No way, bro. Users, vector, desktop. Yeah, let's do this. Shit. Yeah. Mm-mm. In high school, my guy, hats off. I'll tell you that. Hats off. I remember I was playing Fortnite in high school. This was my first came out. I think I was in my freshman year when Fortnite first came out. That was my high school. I wasn't worried about any. Yeah, that's impressive. Keep at it, man. All right. Okay. So B, for example, or I guess vector v1 is equal to bl elm read vectors.txt. You play Fortnite my 7th to 10th. Yeah. Make some time for fun. For sure. Alright, there it is. So I guess I need to create a script. That's pissing me off. Alright, new script. V1 rather vector back set rather. God damn it! Why is every keyword taken? VSet. There you go. Is equal to DLM read vectors.txt. How do you even clear? I don't even remember the syntax. How do you even clear? Hold on. Just save it before we run it, I guess. Plotvex. All right, there you go. So it clears it and then places that there. It's actually my file seems tricky, but it's fun enough. So it's clear all. Okay, just clear that. What does CLC do? CLC clears console. Okay. DL read, and then I want to set so v1 is going to be the first row and then vset, right? No? What's the syntax? Oh. So the first row, rather the first column is what I want. That's correct. Now run that, print v1, so it's the first, yeah. And then v2 is equal to vset 2. So now we have the two variables from in there. Cool. And so what does this talk to each other? So for example, if I run this, and plot two vectors, let's say I do 1, let's say I do 10 and 20, and like 5, 10. All right, now they're both normalized. So if I come here and run this, are those values changed? Yep. All right, cool. Cool. Now we just call plot on both of these vectors. That'll be 1. I want it on the same. I want it on the same plot. I forgot how to do that as well. I forgot how to do everything really. And the value is just 1, right? Like it's always going to be less than 1. So if we just, for example, make the scale of the plot like 10, essentially, it should be fine. All right, where is this course? I believe it was here. X1, Y1. New plot, V1, V2. What is that gonna look like? What? V1, V2. Oh, we need to add a figure. Figure 1. Vectors. Figure. Thought you put the name on there now. I don't even. Okay, that calls like 2, for example. Okay, so it's just changing the. X label, Y label. X label X. Y label Y. Doesn't go in a parentheses, my guy. Mm. Oh, it's the same line. That's why I'm not seeing it. I'm like, why is it only showing one? Because it's the same line, dude. Let's change those vectors, for example. Let's do, I don't know, -1, 3, and then 7, -2. Let's plot those instead, right? Okay. But now I want to, like, my scale for my x-axis. How do I do that? So it's only going to be 10, essentially. I'm better off just reading the documentation. So, because I don't even know. MATLAB documentation. Plot X, Y. What does linspace do? Linspace. -2 times pi. What? The label doesn't even work. So this isn't doing anything. Plot V1. Okay. Plot V1, V2. So let's take that. Take this out. Nope. Linspace, MATLAB. Oh, it's just generating linearly spaced vectors. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Can't do that because it's already a vector. That's what I want. All right. So xlim from 0 to 10. Ylim from 0 to 10. Because I kind of want to see the vectors like pointing out. Yeah, for example, like that. Guess we should do 5. It's normalized, so it's never going to be. Oh. Didn't work. I guess I'm not doing it right. It's not a quote, it's a character button. It's just a different thing on MATLAB, I guess. Why is it not showing it? That's weird. Guess the location is important. Xlim 0 to 2, Ylim 0 to 100, that's fine. Marker indices. This makes no sense. Peaks 25. I'm just copying. See if this actually works. Okay, so that's the method we're gonna use, Quiver. All right, I'm gonna head out.